Let's focus on the following families with Asian roots, starting with Chinese and Korean families. They came in three distinctive waves of immigration, primarily for economic opportunities and educational advancement for their children. Like many immigrants coming to this country, they have been targets of violence and hate crimes because of anti-immigrant sentiment. Many Asian immigrants had high educational achievements but had to settle for blue-collar jobs due to their limited English proficiency and lack of American job requirements. Chinese and Korean Americans are likely to assimilate to U.S. education and values and are commonly considered the model minority due to their high-level attainments in occupation and education. Now let's focus on Southeast Asia, Cambodian, Vietnamese, and Laotian families. In contrast to Asian immigrants, majority were refugees forced to leave their war-torn home countries. Due to decades of war and trauma, many refugees experience poverty, mental disorders, and disintegration of family structures and support systems. However, the Southeast Asian experience is very diverse. Many have achieved high levels of educational accomplishments and success in various professional fields. I met with a friend who is first-generation Cambodian American. I asked her questions about her family's experience as refugees, what it was like for her family to assimilate in the U.S., and how Cambodian and American values have influenced her identity.
I still have a hard time trying to just understand how it was that they rallied everybody from the cities and moved them out to the countryside to these word camps. But that's what happened to my mom, and she was in those word camps I think for a few years before the war before the war ended, and she and before she was in the refugee camps for I think it was maybe 2 years or so before coming to America. But I know that I don't work nearly as hard as I'd seen my mom work, when she was younger. But yet I have a good job. I have a good paying job. I have a lot more economically to kind of show for it. And so it's, for me, it just illustrates that, this idea of the American dream that, anyone can kind of do anything and there's an upward mobility is available for everyone isn't true. Just right. Folks start at very, very different places, and we can't act like everybody, starts with a clean slate. How Buddhism has really influences our culture too. So there's this culture of acceptance, right? As opposed to really, which is in direct contrast to the idea of American exceptionalism and the idea that in America, you can change your stars, right? And so I've always grown up with that belief too, right? That you can kind of do anything and you can change things for yourself, but a big part of of Cambodian culture is just it's accepting, right? And so those two things kind of directly contradict each other, but I think they can also kind of live in the same world. So that I also, being a second generation refugee for me means, having to kind of reconcile again these two worlds, like we talked about. My mom's history, while being American myself, right? And so yeah, that's, I think, a big part of my identity.
Education in the Asian culture is very important. A family's success is based on how well their child does in school. According to Chan and Chen, children have a lifelong respect for knowledge, wisdom, intelligence, and have a love for learning. Parents of Asian children take responsibility of making sure that their children are receiving the appropriate guidance when it comes to their education. The value of education is based on the teaching from Confucius, which gives emphasis on the moral aspect of education as well as the belief of the development of human character. Receiving a good education is a parent's priority in the Asian culture, and being successful in school brings honor to an Asian family. Depending on the severity of the child's disability, Asian families view the disability as a stigma or as a disgrace. There are various reasons why a child is born with a disability. According to Tanya Soho, disabilities can either be environmental or spiritual. The Individuals with Disability Education Improvement Act of 2004 required parent involvement in the decision-making for their child's IEP. Although some Asian parents may participate in their child's IEP, for the most part, the majority don't. According to Soho, Asian families feel because an individual education plan promotes individualism, it disrupts the value of harmony so many were taught growing up. While conducting research, Sarah Helfrich asked parents of the Chinese, Japanese, Korean, and Vietnamese cultures, was there ever an aspect of services your child has received that you felt disagreed with your culture or beliefs? The Japanese family answered how their culture frowns upon arguing and creating conflict that may go on during an IEP meeting, and feel that they had to accept the decision that was made by the team even though they didn't agree with it. These parents also felt that the IEP meetings were intimidating and did not understand the meeting itself because of the language barrier.
The immediate family usually consists of the husband, wife, unmarried children, and typically sons, wives, and children. The woman is instructed to obey her father as a daughter, her husband as a wife, and her eldest son as a widow. Sons, especially the eldest son, are more valued than daughters because they are the ones that symbolically carry on the family name and are also responsible for caring for the parents when they become older. Daughters have a devalued status because they are viewed as children who are raised to join another family when they marry. The extended family is made up of immediate family and close relatives sharing the same family name, as well as ancestors. In the case of the Hmong, all members of the clan living in the same community are considered extended family. The husband is considered the principal provider and family representative to the public. The wife is primarily responsible for what happens inside the house. This includes monitoring the family's emotional well-being, raising and educating the children, and taking care of financial matters. Traditionally, the strongest family ties are not between spouses, but rather between parent and child. Parents sacrifice personal needs in order to serve the interests of their children and provide welfare and security for the family as a whole. In return, the child is required to show unquestioning obedience and loyalty to the parents. A child's behavior is considered a direct reflection of the parent's ability to provide proper guidance. One, do not generalize an understanding of one group to another. Teachers must identify differences between groups in order to develop appropriate communication strategies. Two, take the time to explain patiently that parent involvement is a tradition in American education. Some Asian Americans see teachers as professionals who have authority over their children's schooling and may regard teachers who seek parent involvement as incompetent. 3. Study and learn as much as you can about the culture of Asian Americans, especially beliefs. This could better prepare you to resolve problems. For example, after the killing of 5 Cambodian children by a gunman in Stockton, California in 1989, the greatest fear of the Cambodian community was not that there could be a recurrence of killing, but of the haunting spirits of the dead. Cambodian families refused to send their children back to school until school officials, as advised by the Cambodian consulate, performed a folk religious ritual to release the spiritual burden of the community. 4. Understanding the different notions of time may help teachers facilitate interactions among parents and staff. Some Asian Americans, such as Hmong, believe that in some situations, time can solve problems better than human intervention can. They reason that one should not push hard in haste, but rather let events run their own course. 5. Take time to critically examine your own values, beliefs, learning styles, and communication behaviors. By doing so, you as an educator can better understand that any foreign communication patterns, just like your own, are learned reasonable ways of interacting.